comes down to this. Over the last 6 weeks, we have had 5 different races. We have had 5 different winners. The top 5 drivers in the overall standings are separated by just 48 points. And for the teams, it's 63 points. We are now in the Garden of England. We are in Longfield in Kent at Brands Hatch Grand Prix for the season finale of the Simsport Racing Assetto Corsa Competizione GT4 Season 3. Alex Goldschmidt and Steve Proudley back with you once again. Good evening, Steve. Well, we both thought it was going to go down to the wire, and it's all come down to this. 2.433 miles, 3.916 kilometers of fantastic British tarmac to see 30-plus drivers go into battle for one final time. What a whirlwind it's been so far.
It's been absolutely fantastic. It's been a fantastic series from start to finish. Some very, very close racing throughout. A few little mishaps here and there, a few incidents, a little bit of luck, some people being a little bit unlucky. But what a circuit to come to finish it off. Brands Hatch, not the easiest circuit to overtake on, very technical, very quick in places, and obviously with the reverse grid, we've got our 3 championship contenders, I believe, starting at the back end of that reverse grid in 15th, 14th and 13th. So it's going to be very interesting for those guys trying to make their way through the field this evening and think about that championship.
Indeed. Well, before we go through the results and everything, just a bit of a brief roundup so far. The top 5 drivers coming into this at the moment are Stephen Haley, Karolis Supervicious, Aidan Bro, Regan Mitchell and Yannick Müller. They all have a chance of winning the title, mathematically speaking, this evening. The only driver out of those 5 that has finished outside of the top 15 is Yannick Müller, who at round 4 at Silverstone, which saw Kieran Vidago take the victory after Charlie Crossan got a 3-place penalty and then promptly had to serve a race ban for the 5th round at Spa-Francorchamps. Yannick Müller is the outside dark horse, but we saw him power to victory in the Audi, Steve, at the Nurburgring for the halfway point of the season. So any one of these 5 drivers could really, really steal it from under the nose of Steve Haley, who is on course for taking his 2nd successive GT4 season title here on Simsport Racing.
He is, yeah. And I mean, we can just see the championship table there. We've got Stephen Haley in first place. The Spa results there with Stephen Haley, who took that very, very dominant win, didn't he, in the wet at Spa, a very, very tricky race. But Aidan Brow came through for a very strong 2nd place, defending in the latter stages from Supervicious, who put on a little bit of a last 5-minute charge, but couldn't quite put enough pressure on Aidan to grab that 2nd place. Michael Haffenden in a season best, I believe, 4th place. Yannick Müller in 5th, Kieran Vidago 6th, Paspont in 7th, Zentalis in 8th, Kelsey 9th, Pixley rounded out the top 10, Mitchell in the Maserati in 11th, Gerard de Beer 12th, Adam Zalovic in 13th, Jeffrey Wolf 14th, and Dave Hedges in the other Maserati rounding out the top 15. So it was a really good race, wasn't it, Spa? It was absolutely awesome.
Yeah, so we look at the championship table. The top 3 covered by 8 points with Stephen Haley. If either Supervicious or Bro win the race, he needs to finish 2nd, because then the gap between 1st and 3rd is 12 points. That's a huge margin, but obviously at the end of the day, Steve Haley needs to do the business tonight. Regan Mitchell, I mean, looking at it, he's had 2 top 15 finishes, the lowest of which was at the 1st round at Monza, the 3rd round at Spa, where he finished 12th and 11th respectively. You know, Yannick Müller could steal it from anybody under any one of these 4 guys' noses. That's how close it is. I mean, Haley, Supervicious, Müller are the out of the top 5 are the only ones that actually scored 1 victory apiece. Aidan Bro, he's had 2 P2s, one at the Nurburgring and one at Spa. He had a P10 at Silverstone, which was his most challenging round, where he actually got a post-race penalty, being dropped a couple of places down the grid. He had P9 at Suzuka, where he was suffering with the brakes with the Audi. So that really does showcase how close it has been all season. Then we take a look at the team standings coming into this. And this is where it gets interesting, because not only did Stephen Haley take the season to crown Simply Race when they used the Aston Martins along with teammate Aaron Walker, they're on the verge of taking their second successive title. They're on 243, and they took one of the cars that was considered possibly going to be the most challenging vehicle to power around the 5 circuits so far. But Brands Hatch is a different test, and the KTM Crossbow is very, very agile, and that's where Brands Hatch could really play to their strengths. 1001 Racing, they are second in the standings, and that is 39 points behind. And then you look at the investigation team, which is Regan Mitchell and Dave Hedges, even with Drifter Dave not having the best run of order, but he's on reverse top 15 pole position this evening. They're on 200 points. Apex Motorsport 192, and HF Impala, last season's team vice champions, round out the top 5, and with 24 points, first could be a formality for Messrs Haley and Walker. But then the kickoff fight between second and fifth, Steve, is going to be absolutely implosive.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, Simply Race KTM with Walker and Haley. Walker, as we can see on the starting lineup for this evening, is starting down in 27th place. So he's got a long way to go to start scoring some valuable points. And as you said, we've got Dave Hedges on pole position, Jeffrey Wolf lined up alongside him in second, Adam Azelovich in third, Gerard Debar in fourth. Then we have Regan Mitchell and Richard Pixley. Then we have Ranjiv Kelsey and Lucas Zentalis. We have Paspont and Vidago. We have Muller and Haffenden rounding out the top 12. Sipovicius and Brow in the top 14. And then we have Stephen Haley in 15th place on that grid. So those guys, 15th, 14th and 13th, championship contenders, but they've got a lot of talent in front of them to fight their way through, and they will not want to make any mistakes whatsoever. They're going to have to be very, very careful about how they pick their way through the field. Mm-hmm. Speaking to Steve Haley before I came into the broadcast studio, he was saying that he's obviously not necessarily going for the win this evening. He's going to try and just follow those two guys through. If one of those guys does get on the lead, he knows full well that then he needs to battle for that second place. But he's going to he said to me, he's very much going to play the watching game, and he's going to follow them through and be very, very tactical about his drive this evening.
Okay, well, we've got about 3 minutes until they get underway with the formation lap. So, 16th downwards. And thank you very much to Evan Davas. That is because it's obviously a Greek surname, so NT is actually D. So, Evan Davas, thank you very much for reacquainting us with how we pronounce surnames here on Simsport Racing. Mark Neuterlings, as always, in 17th, the man who likes to say, eat my cheese, in the words of Tom Coronel, of course, from World Touring Car Cup. Reese Wiggin, Colin Dunn and Baz Schillister round out the top 20. Then it's Richard Emery. Denise Pope, who's really shown what she is very much capable of, and hopefully Denise will be back with us for whenever Season 4 gets announced in due course. She's ahead of Ollie Gill, Angus Martin, Andrew Ambro, Simon Wilkes, Aaron Walker, as you mentioned earlier, Steve, down in 27th ahead of Niall Schleter. Cameron Fife, Gavin Utley, Mark Ranbury running out the top 31 ahead of Tim Fulbrook. Sean Buck, Steve Allen will be starting ahead of Team Fordzilla's Charlie Crossland, who has served his race ban and starts 35th and stone dead last. So, Steve, let's get onto the track here at Brands Hatch Grand Prix. Such iconic corners such as Paddock Hill Bend, a blind apex where you're going into the braking zone at around 230, 240 on the speedo. You're braking, you're having to sort of really sort of gauge it down, down into, Harewood Hill and then into Druids, Graham Hill Bend, Surtees, of course, named after the late John Surtees himself, Hawthorns, the Minster Straight, Westfields, Dingledale, of course, Sheen Curves, Stirlings. It is a true test. And these wonderful GT4 machines, we could see, and I've seen it before in certain places, that through Westfields we may even have a 3-wide moment at some particular point, and you might have to have the virtual defibrillator on standby for yours truly.
Yeah, absolutely, mate, and it wouldn't be the first time we've had it on standby. Some epic commentating throughout the seasons at Simsport, courtesy of Alex. But yeah, definitely, it's going to be very interesting. We've seen some, like you said, they'll go down Paddock Hill for the first time. and potentially up into Druids there. And we, like you say, we can see 3 and even 4 wide into Druids for the first time. Run through there, usually 2 wide, potentially then into Graham Hill Bend, still 2 wide round there, and using the runoff onto the grass, and that usually starts to sort them out, and then they start bunching up again at Surtees. So these opening laps are going to be mega important. At least it's dry this week, and the forecast is looking good. The track temperature's okay, 13 degrees, not fantastic, but it's okay. The main thing is we're in for a dry race, but yeah, those guys that are fighting for the championship have got to just, they're going to have to be careful. They do not want to get taken out. They don't want to make any silly mistakes. We are literally ready for the formation lap to get underway, and it's now for the guys, it's time to stop talking and start driving, isn't it, Alex?
Yeah, it's time for the banter to stop and for the driving to do the talking here at Brands Hatch. Grand Prix for the 6th and final round, and leading them away is the number 88 of Investigation Team's drifter, Dave Hedges. But obviously, he won't have to worry about wet weather conditions. But even though the, thank you very much, Mike Yao from Simply Race, our broadcast director, providing us with the hashtag. And at the end of the day, it just goes to show the character of the Maserati, but also the fact that there's been a lot of banter. You and I have ridiculed Mr. Hedges somewhat rather chronic over the past few weeks and months.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Alex.
Exactly. Plead the Fifth Amendment there, Mr. Proudley. Why don't you? But the drivers now making their way through. And the biggest thing here, Steve, is the elevation changes. It is not just a test of how compact the circuit is, it is also a test of how the setups are. Okay, it's 13 degrees track temperature, 12 degrees air temperature. It's looking to be relatively a little bit cloudy in the sky with some blue sky overhead. But the drivers now really will be tested 100% to the metal. And that's not just putting the throttle down coming out of the corners.
No, absolutely not. It's all about flowing. You've got a few blind apexes as well around Brands Hatch, and you've literally got to commit to them before you can see them. And obviously, you're relying on everybody around you to be doing the same. So you're relying on other people not to make mistakes to cause incidents. But just on chat, it's good to see the usual people watching us and the regulars, and we really appreciate everybody. So good evening to Andrew Fife supporting Cameron as ever, along with Frankie as well. So nice to see you two again. Obviously, we've got Aaron as well, we've got Ben Holmes, we've got the Tank 9891, and we've got Daniel, our very own Daniel Parker, saying let's go Pixley, and we've got Paul Lindsay also supporting Pixley. So Pixley has a little bit of support in the YouTube chat this evening, so it'll be interesting to see how Mr. Pixley gets on. He's had a couple of strong races in the last 2 rounds. He's had some good performances. He's been a little bit unlucky here and there, but I'm sure he'll have a good race. He's starting in 6th position this evening, so he's more or less at the sharp end, so let's see what he can do.
Yeah, and not just him in the Genettas, it's Stain Passpont in the number 444. He starts 9th ahead of Kieran Vidago, who is outside of a mathematical opportunity of taking this title. But the winners so far this season, Aaron Walker, the Season 1 champion, won at Monza. Then it was Sipa Vicious at Suzuka, Yannick Müller on home soil in Germany at the Nurburgring, Kieran Vidago at Silverstone, and then Stephen Haley, who starts 15th here at Brands Hatch. So it is down to Dave Hedges and Jeffrey Wolf to control the rolling start formation. The red lights are waiting to switch to green. Ladies and gentlemen, for one final time on Simsport Racing, GT4 Season 3 goes green for the final time. They're now bury the accelerators to the floor, heading into Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. And it is 2x2 hurrah at the front of the field, but Dave Hedges getting the jump early doors on Jeffrey Wolf as Adam Izailovic going up the inside of Gerard Debar, heading into Druids for the first time, as it looks like Mitchell has got past Pixley and he's trying to go up the inside of Debar coming out of Druids. Pixley runs wide, and there is Zentalis and Kelsey amongst others. So good start there from Dave Hedges, but it looks like Gerard Debar is definitely keeping the door firmly shut. But Regan Mitchell trying to go through up the inside, through into Surtees, and the number 69 Maserati makes it up to 4th place, and Pixley runs a little bit wide, and that allows the door for Zentalis to be well and truly open, but a pretty clean start. But it looks like Izailovic is getting under pressure once again.
Yeah, absolutely. Islovic has just looked a little bit loose through some of the opening corners, as we've just seen there. That's Jeffrey Wolf just run really wide there, and he's lost a few places, and he's back with his teammate Gerard De Bar now in 4th place, I believe, just about. But yeah, Adam Zalovic is looking very, very loose. Dave Hedges did really well in the Maserati to keep it all very, very tidy in those opening laps. Thought that might be an interesting car to take through Paddock Hill Bend for the first time, but Dave kept it all tidy. Look at that, 3-4 wide there, just as they came through that corner there, and it's all getting sorted out. And yeah, definitely fighting very hard further down the field, and it's 2 by 2.
Yeah, Aidan Bro looking to try and get past, I think, that, well, you've got Haffenden just ahead. That is that Ranjiv Kelsey that's actually dropped all the way back behind Aidan Bro, because that's rather interesting. Steve Haley trying to get past through 2 as they now complete lap number 1, as it's every driver for themselves, as Steve Haley trying to go up the inside. Oh, he nearly loses the back end. Oh, Steve Haley had a moment going through the apex, as there's a bit of contact there between Zipavicius and also that was Pixley. So now this is really changing everything. So Haley and Bro could really be the 2 that could be going for it, but then Regan Mitchell, he's up into what is now 3rd place, if that. So you know, it's really, well, he's dropping down to 8th at the moment, but the battles are really, really closely packed, and this is going to be a race that both myself and Steve Proudley are really going to have difficulty keeping tabs on this evening.
Yeah, it's very difficult, isn't it, keeping your eye. The drivers have got to really settle down and just, you know, the jockeying for position still. They're all in very, very close proximity, and you can see just there the jinking in and out, trying to put some pressure on the car in front, as we're still watching Adam Zalovic there just firing around in 6th place with Yannick Muller ahead, but Kieran Vidago really hounding Isavalovic now, really trying to put the pressure on and looking to try and make a move forward, and Kieran is one of the quicker drivers on the grid.
Well, I have noticed, now there's a Mercedes in the wall, and that is Denise Pope, who's had nowhere to go. I think that was Ban Shelstra that was turned around coming out of Surtees, but the biggest question is, Steve, where on the timing screens is Aidan Bro? He was out in the top 15. He's dropped out of it. What's happened to him, I wonder?
He's looking like, well, on the timing screen he was 12th. He's dropping down 13th at the moment on the Pitwall Live. If everyone's not familiar with that, you just need to pitwalllive.com, and you can find Simsport Racing live timings on there. But Aidan Bro, yeah, he's dropping way down the field at the moment. He's obviously had an issue, and he's now showing in 27th place. So not quite sure what's happened there, but that looks like that's put paid to his championship contention this evening.
So Zipavicius is the one that could really, really put the cats amongst the proverbial pigeons for Steve Haley, because he is 2 places ahead. So yeah, it's pitwall.live for the official way that you can find out about the live timing, and it does go all the way down the screen as well. So Adam Izalovic now being pressurised by Kieran Vidago, of all people, who won 2 weeks ago at Silverstone, with Haley really trying to put himself back into the firing line. And there is the Mercado Racing 111, the Edam style paint job on that Mercedes AMG GT4 being handled by Kieran Vidago and Regan Mitchell. And Vidago takes more than a bit of dust, as Yannick Muller now trying to get past Jeffrey Wolf in the 86 Simbro Sport BMW M4 GT4. Now they're coming to the bridge into Clark Curve. Now it's time to put the power down up from 3rd gear. They're going to go up with the rev range up to 4th. You can see the speed increase. It's going to hit around about 200 kilometers an hour before they cross the start-finish line, and nearly hitting about 140 miles an hour before going into the blind right-hand apex. And look at the amount of curb that Muller takes, trying to close up on Wolf, and he's looking towards the inside on Wolf, going through into Druis as Vidago spears his way past up the inside. Neatly done on Adam Izalovic, and he is leaving Regan Mitchell very much in his dust tracks. 39 minutes and 47 seconds still to go, as Yannick Muller trying to get into the toe on Jeffrey Wolf, looking up the inside through Surtees. He's gone and made that nice and cleanly there. Up into 4th place goes the number 77, but look at Wolf instantly firing back a warning shot across the bow, and here comes Kieran Vidago.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Kieran Vidago, it's just a matter of time before he got past Adam, and he's now straight onto the back of these guys, Muller and Wolf. And he's look at that, he's already putting pressure on Wolf and looking to try and make a move. Kieran Vidago is the man on the move. But just interestingly, on the team championships, as they stand at the moment, Zentalis and Sipavicius, I think they might, where they are, that may well be enough for them at the moment to take the team championships and take that win this evening if things stayed something similar.
So those guys are the 1001 Racing duo. So at the moment, with just under 39 minutes to go, we're on to lap number 4. Dave Hedges leads by just over 0.8 of a second ahead of Gerard Debar, as Vidago is now past. Now we're going to go back to a replay. Now this is involving Aidan Bro. Oh, Zipavicius has come in. Oh, and he's touched the left front of Aidan Bro, coming out of Druids, and that has put Bro into the barriers, and Aidan Bro tumbles like a proverbial stone. And that, but the thing is, Steve, we know how capable Aidan Bro is. He's been pushed to the back of the grid before, and he has come back fighting with every single mental and physical ounce in his body. And with a tight circuit like this, Aidan Bro could have an opportunity. So we're now going to go to another replay. And that is with, oh, now that looks to be, I think that was Niall Schleter that banged into him just there as well in the number 37 Porsche. So it definitely is not for Aidan Bro. One good turn deserves another. It's 2 bad turns, does not really give you any sort of favourable help.
Absolutely not. And I mean, yes, Aidan Bro is absolutely capable of fighting his way back up into sort of certainly the top 10. Is it a tall order for him to do what he needs to do, which realistically is, if the further forward Steve Haley gets, he needs to win this race. That's where his eyes need to be, and that is a tall order. Obviously, as well, depending how much damage he's got and how much it's going to affect his lap times. But let's never say never. He's back up to 25th already. He did drop down to 27th, so he's moving forward. And he won't give up. He's that type of driver. He's a professional. He will move forward. He'll always try and do the best he can and attack the car in front.
Yeah, so at the moment, Steve Haley currently in 12th position, but also the biggest crux of the matter here is Carolis Sipavicius is currently in P8. So we're on to lap number 6 as all. Zentalis looking up the inside of Debar through Druids. That is nicely done there. But look, that was not what Gerard Debar wanted to have happen to him coming out of Druids. So Zentalis could be under Stewart's investigation, possibly post-race. The Zipavicius now, as a result of Debar, who's going to chop down the field, that is not going to give him any confidence whatsoever in that BMW. After that unfortunate coming together. So it will be, I've got a feeling that will be a Stewart's inquiry. And look, Gerard Debar dropping down the order again. It's like lightning struck twice in the same place, but it's on the other side of the circuit coming out of Druids.
Yeah, absolutely, and this plays into the hands of the championship contenders, because obviously everybody that drops out of the top 10 it just pushes those boys a little bit further forward. Although we're seeing Sipavicius in 7th and Haley still down in 11th, so is it up to 10th? Sorry, now is it just a case of maybe Steve Haley's being overcautious? He does need to finish relatively close to Sipavicius. He doesn't want him to gain too much of an advantage. But let's see what goes on, as we are now watching Sipavicius with he's chasing Adam Zelic now to try and get up into 6th place, but he's got to watch that Maserati of Regan Mitchell, which is in very close attention behind. And I'm not quite sure if Sipavicius is attacking or defending there, because everybody's so close together. He could be forgiven for mistaking what he's trying to do there. But he's definitely looking to try and put a move on Adam, and it'll be interesting to see how close he can follow him through Paddock Hill and maybe set a move up for Druids.
Well, he's definitely the Porsche meet inside a Maserati Panini and a Mercedes Pretzel around him. That's a new vernacular for me, as we're about to hit the conclusion of the first 10 minutes, as Regan Mitchell now trying to pressurise. Is that Jeffrey Wolf? I believe that looks to be the case, because now Isalovic and Sipavicius. Now Sipavicius is getting quickly on the flashing headlights tactic there, to try and see if Isalovic will actually get out of his way. Well, we know how much resolve Adam Isalovic, when he is in front, he will not give that position up, and that backside of that Mercedes is going to be made wide as humanly possible. But Isalovic goes on the defensive, going through into Hawthorns. Now they're going to go down the Derek Minter straight and into Westfields. Oh, moment there for Jeffrey Wolf, and Regan Mitchell has to go avoiding and he has to go rally crossing effectively, and that allows the likes of Michael Haven. Look at Charlie Crossland. Look at Charlie Crossland, 25th to 35th to 10th now, within, 11 minutes?
Absolutely,
Riley, what a performance from him.
Charlie Crossland is a quick boy. Just looking back at Haffenden, that gap with Haffenden, Mitchell and Crossland, now they're all in very, very close attention. As we can see, they're 2 by 2 as they're coming now onto the start-finish straight, and that's some battling ahead. But just, it's close fighting throughout the field now, as we're just looking at Haffenden back there, and now we're looking at Zalovic being overtaken by Sipavicius on the entry to Paddock Hill, so that should be a safe move. He's got that done, and he'll be able to defend that into Druids. And we're looking at Haffenden and Crossland going side by side, and definitely that's Sipavicius has got that job done. He defended it into Druids, and Haffenden and Crossland still fighting, and fighting very, very hard but fair, has to be said, with Haley just there jinking in the background as well.
Yeah, Steve Haley definitely trying to look at he's doing a bit like Alain Prost back in the day in the 1990s, when Alain Prost was called Le Professeur, because he always used to look at the points, and he goes up the inside of Jeffrey Wolf. I think there might have been a slight touch between the right hand side of the KTM and the left hand side of the BMW, and that has allowed Regan Mitchell to now get past the number 86 BMW. But at the moment, the driver now leading the way, Zentalis, has actually got past Hedges. Hedges now coming under pressure from Yannick Müller in the number 77 Apex Motorsport Mercedes-AMG GT4. And look at the amount of curb and momentum that Yannick Müller got to try and get the run on Dave Hedges. The Mercedes goes up the inside of the Maserati. Hedges not going to give this up at all as they go under the bridge. They've just come out of Sterling's. Now they're through Clearways into Clark Curve. This is definitely getting very, very hot and heated under the collar, and now Zentalis will cross the line to be leading after lap number 8. On to lap 9 we go, and Müller still trying to put Dave Hedges under pressure, but Kieran Vidago, Hedges runs wide. Hedges runs wide. Müller up the inside, neatly up the inside through Paddock Hill Bend goes Yannick Müller, and gets, well, make sure that he completes the move fully by Druids down into Graham Hill, through onto the left, which then takes them onto Cooper Straight. So let's stay with Yannick Müller for the moment. Let's see if we can get an onboard and ride on board with the number 77 Mercedes, as now he's going to start hunting down Lucas Zentalis. So through into Surtees.
He's fighting that car there. Did you see the oversteer there? He's absolutely struggling to get it turned in, but he's pushing so hard, and Muller's really going for the win. But at this moment in this race, with 31 minutes still to go, there's anybody. I mean, we've still got Vidago closing fast. We've got Sipavicius making his way through. We've got Crossland charging through the field. And we've got Steve Haley still in contention in 9th place, although he said he's not going for the win this evening. He's racing for the championship. But we've got a handful of drivers in the top 10, and any one of them can still win this race this evening. There's plenty of time left for the lead to change hand several times.
Well, the thing is, the biggest question, the $64,000 question, Steve, is will we have a two-time winner this season, or will we have 6 different ones from 6 different races? Well, we'll find out in just 31 minutes' time, as Aaron Walker has also been making some moves. He's on the back bumper of Stain Passpont in the 444 Ginetta as they're coming through Clark Curve, and that's really good for the team's championship, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's Hedges, isn't it, getting very sideways there and just crossed up and giving Vidago the opportunity to go around the outside, and he's got that move done through Druids, and he's going to defend that now down to Graham Hill Bend, and he's got that move done. But yeah, Aaron Walker, it's worth shouting out to him, because that was 27th place up to what was currently he's 14th, and he's very much looking to put a move on Passpont at the moment. He's only a 2/10 behind him, so Aaron Walker making good progress as well. As we've just seen, that's Jeffrey Wolf running really wide again. Ranjiv Kelsey coming under all sorts of pressure from Passpont, and Walker there, as we can see, just he's putting the pressure on. He's waiting for the opportunities, and he's going to pull out alongside Passpont now and try and take it all the way down to Hawthorne, but I don't think he'll get that job done, as he's had to just pull back in behind the Ginetta. Yeah,
I think the thing is, as I said, he's playing the percentages, is Steve Haley, as there's a little bit of a run wide from not just Ranjiv Kelsey, but also Jeffrey Wolf. 29 minutes and 45 seconds still remaining of the 6th and final round of Season 3 GT4. Oh, up the inside, like a rat up a drain pipe goes Steve Haley, and then Steve Passpont runs wide.
That's Aaron Walker.
Oh, sorry, Aaron Walker. My apologies there. That's the problem. I have to look at the fact that there is the St George's flag on Aaron Walker's car, and then there's the Union Jack on Steve Haley's car. My apologies there, Aaron. Freudian slip from a commentator. But Regan Mitchell, he's looking to charge on Steve Haley. And look just up ahead there, Mr. Proudley. They've got Michael Hafferden from HF Impala just in front. So this is the battle from 8th to 10th position. So I think that might have been Hafferden that just ran a little bit wide on the apex of Paddock Hill Bend, but looks like Aidan Bro, he's made some really good inroads. He's now back up to 19th position. Behind him, he's got Gavin Utley in the number 14 BMW and Ollie Geel in the number 18 Porsche.
Yeah, Ollie Geel looking a little bit impression on Gav Utley, and he's looking to go round the outside. I'm not sure that's not going to work. Gav's going to cover that off on the exit and cut back, and yeah, definitely job done defended there. But yeah, Ollie Geel looking very, very impressive as we're on board with Super Vicious now, really putting the pressure on Dave Hedges, looking to get that Maserati in front of him. So much under pressure that Dave's going to start drifting and sliding, and as he does. But Dave's doing a really good job, it has to be said, this evening. That's in what is a very, very difficult car to drive. He's on a dry track, but it's a cold track relative to tyre pressures, temperatures and things. So that Maserati is a real handful, as we can see it skipping around as it comes out the corners. It's getting crossed up. There's no ABS, no traction control. It's a difficult car to hustle around here at race speeds, but Dave is doing a fantastic job in 4th place, it has to be said. We can see Kieran Vidago there off up the road, as we now see in Super Vicious is looking to go around the outside, and Dave's going to try to defend this into Paddock Hill. This is going to be interesting. Can Dave keep it tidy, keep it neat and keep the inside line? Looks like he's just about going to do that, but he needs to keep it tight so that he can keep the inside line as they head up to Druids, and he's doing just that. He's been very, very defensive and not making any room for Super Vicious to get through at all. Great driving from Dave Hedges.
Okay, question for you, Steve. Who's got the fastest lap at the moment? Points tallying are now in full effect on my notepad right now.
The very fact that you've asked me that question, I would say Aidan Bro.
Okay, right. So let's look at it from this perspective. So at the moment, Super Vicious is currently what? P5 at the moment, so that will net him 32 points. Steve Haley at the moment is currently 9th, which will give him 24. You're going to have kittens in a minute when I tell you this. The virtual championship standings at the moment, and I'm going to give you the 2 drivers that are currently tied on what, if the race was to finish right now, as it stands, Steve Haley and Carolus Super Vicious would be tied on exactly 196 points. That's how close it is between the pair of them. And you know what the biggest thing would be? It would go to countback, wouldn't it?
Potentially, yes. There is an attendance bonus that's in the rules as well.
And that's an additional 15 points?
It's 5 points per round for every race that you've completed at least 90% of.
So
you've got to have completed all the races. If you miss one race, you get no bonus points whatsoever.
Okay, so effectively that would put them on 226 apiece. One of these drivers has to make sure that that gap is increased by 1 position. Dave Hedges, well, whilst we were saying that, Dave Hedges has just dropped behind Carolus Super Vicious. That's where it changed. That is where it has changed, and that gives...
Crossland now takes Super Vicious, so just start reworking.
Oh, it goes back, and Dave Hedges
on the outside as well. He's pushing and pushing. He's back in front, so Super Vicious is... he's back round. He's
right,
back
okay,
round,
okay. So that changes it again. Super Vicious. What is that Mr. Men sign doing on the stream? I've got absolutely no idea. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. But that, you know what this now means? Oh. Sorry. Oh yeah, well he definitely did want his position back, so I think he just got his elbows out, didn't he, Steve?
Absolutely, yeah, and that's definitely what he needs to do. And now we're looking at Walker, who's up to 12th. So let's not count Aaron Walker out of helping his teammate Steve Haley. 25 minutes just under left, and at the pace that Aaron Walker and the progress he's making, he's up behind Jeffrey Wolf. He's not doing a bad job, and he's not that far off the guys ahead. If he can get some clear air and get some laps in, he could soon close up. But we've got Yannick Moller here on Zentalis, and it looking like the lead could change hand at any time now, just depending on the defence that Zentalis can put up against Muller, and we know how hard Muller can attack people. He's absolutely fantastic driver, really challenging, and he can force mistakes from anybody. But also, let's not forget, we've got Vidago, who's hard charging, coming up behind, 3.5 seconds back, and behind him, Crossland, what do we say about Crossland? He will just charge. He's the fast driver. If he can avoid incidents, he's the quickest man on the track, usually every single week.
Okay, so looking at this again, the way things are at the minute with Sipavicius now, he is in what? He's back in 5th place, it looks like. So he's back past Dave Hedges. So again, it goes even Stevens between Sipavicius. Now, this is where it's going to get interesting. Yannick Müller now closing, having gone through Pilgrim's Drop and through Hawthorns. They're now going into, well, they've gone through all that complex, through Sheen Curve, into Sterling's, and now the blast down. Clearways into Clark Curve. 23.5 minutes. We're on lap number 14, and the battle for the lead has intensified with Lucas Zentalis looking to keep ahead of Yannick Müller. So it's 1001 racing ahead of Apex Motorsport at the front of the field. The pair go into Paddock Hill Bend, line astern, but Müller, Zentalis runs a little bit wide, and that is going to allow Yannick Müller to go up the inside. So the number 102 open the door. Yannick Müller up the inside nice and cleanly, despite the lack of room. And the Mercedes now takes the lead on lap number 15. Major drama for Regan Mitchell coming in through Clark Curve. And he lost it all by himself. So the back end of the Maserati, no ABS and no traction control. That really, really put paid to what happened. But Yannick Müller quickly on the defensive as Zentalis looking to strike back and counter-attack at the 77 Apex Motorsport Mercedes.
Yeah, but I think Muller's got the pace. If he can just drive his own line and put his, do what he wants to do, he will start to pull away, I do believe, because obviously he made the ground up to catch. He's got the job done. He forced the mistake, and I think he's got the pace as the gap is starting to open up now, and Vidago is closing in very fast. Just on a personal level, I'm going to give a shout out to Cameron Fife, who's currently in 21st position, which is a really good result for Cameron so far. Just needs one more position to get into a point scoring position for this season. And absolutely awesome drive to what is a relatively new sim racer to the community. So it's good to see Cameron having a good race for a change and avoiding some of the bad luck that he's suffered in the previous rounds.
Well, Aidan Bro is looking to make his way up the field. He's now up into 16th position, which now puts him... He's still got the fastest lap, hasn't he, Steve? So that will give him an additional point, if memory serves me correctly. So he is now on 175 points. And this is where it's going to get really interesting. So we've got Steve Haley. He is currently down in, I'm trying to remember, 8th place now. So that gives him 26 points. That puts him on 198. Zipavicius is currently in 5th place. That gives him 32. Still 2 points in it, virtually speaking. Let's forget the attendance bonus, because obviously that will be ratified. But provisionally speaking, Steve Haley is hanging on to taking a 2nd title in a row by the skin of his teeth.
He's doing what he needs to do. I'm not saying at this moment in time he's fully aware of the situation, because I think he'll be absolutely concentrating on his driving and maybe not doing all the maths in his head. He's far more talented than I give him credit for, if he is. But he's going to be pushing really hard. Aaron Walker is up to 10th place. And I only say that because that's his teammate, and maybe Aaron can start to offer some assistance if he's getting up there. And just what Mark Neutlin's having a bit of a bad race, and he's down in 25th after what looks like a mistake there and running very wide. But just back on board with Steve Haley, just keeping everything a little bit tidy, a little bit neat, not putting too much pressure on you know, himself or Adam Zalevich in front. He's just literally waiting for the mistakes to come, and he's just sat there in very close attention to Adam and making him aware he's there and looking to try and force, you know, a mistake or to get Adam to leave the door open somewhere so he can nip that KTM through, because the KTM strong points are in the tighter corners and the braking zones. That's where it really wins out over some of the other cars.
Okay, well, top 20 with just under 20 minutes on the clock remaining, as we see Miles Dixon from Pulse Simsport battling away with Jeffrey Wolf, who was right at the sharp end of the field when we went green just over 35 minutes ago. Zentalis leads by 1.17 seconds from Yannick Miller. Kieran Vidago in third. Charlie Crossland, Karolis Sipavicius, Dave Hedges, Adam Izalevich, Steve Haley, Michael Hafferton, Aaron Walker now up into 10th place. And Haley's looking up the inside of Izalevich, going through, and that is into Surtees. And the Mercedes will have the power advantage down into Pilgrim's Drop ahead of the KTM. But then when they get through to Hawthorns, if Haley can be a little bit more cautious, but also be a little bit brave on the brakes without taking too much time out of getting past Izalevich, he'll have an opportunity. They've now gone down the Minster Straight into Westfields, and then they're going to go through Dingle Dell. You can just see how much of a different line Steve Haley is taking in comparison with Izalevich now, as on the brakes very, very quickly through into Sheens and then into Sterling's, the left-hander they're going to come up to now before going down into Clearways. This is a great onboard shot. A big thank you to Mike Yao from Simply Race, our broadcast director here on Simsport Racing, for providing some action-packed shots as Miles Dixon again closing. He's got Ranjiv Kalsi on his back bumper in the number 47 Porsche, as they're both trying to get their way past Jeffrey Wolf as they go under the bridge at Clearways and through into Clark Curve.
Yeah, it's all going on, and we can just see how much Steve Haley's closing up under the brakes all the time. It's really concertina in that gap, but he just can't find a way past Adam, and he certainly hasn't got the straight line power to outdrag that Merc. He needs to do it in the braking zone, and basically what is almost like a block pass needs to happen. Just a shout out to Paul Media. Not quite sure if I agree with you there, Paul, but in the chat he said give a pay rise to whoever runs the layout for the stream. I'm not sure if he means Mike, the producer. He can't do, can he? Doesn't deserve a pay rise. But anyway, we'll move on quickly from that comment.
Steady now, Steve. Steady now. But Steve Haley's still trying to push the issue, but not force the issue, so to speak. He's going to look towards Hawthorns again. Izalevich makes that Mercedes as wide as possible, as it looks like Hafferton has lost a few places. So Dixon trying to close on that is Jeffrey Wolf just up ahead. Ranjiv Kalsi in tow. And so, yeah, after the top 10, rounding out the top 20, it's Dixon behind Wolf. Well, that's 11th, 12th and 11th respectively. Ranjiv Kalsi, Tim Fulbrook up from way down at the bottom part of the grid up to 14th ahead of Stain Passpont. Aidan Bro is definitely getting, well, he's actually ahead of Passpont. Look at the comeback from Aidan Bro. We've still got 17 minutes remaining, and he's now up into the top 15. Aidan Bro has done an absolutely sterling job coming back from what was, 27th after that incident coming out of Druids. And now he's looking to try and get past Ranjiv Kalsi. What a comeback from the 557 from the Butler Palmora spot.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic drive. Obviously, there was not too much damage picked up there because he's currently putting the lap times in and he's gaining the positions, and he's going to gain another position there from Fulbrook on the inside of Paddock Hill Bend. Now as they head down to Druids, he's got that move done. He's defending a little bit there because it looks like Passpont in the Ginetta was showing a nose as well, and he's wanting to get past Fulbrook as well, and indeed goes side by side. But no, I don't think he's going to be able to make that move there, and he's having to drop back in behind the Porsche of Fulbrook, and but certainly he's looking a little bit aggressive and wanting to get past us. We're looking at Aidan Bro as well, also up on Jeffrey Wolf, trying to get on the inside there as they headed into Surtees, but just couldn't really do that. Now tucked back in and heading through Pilgrim's Drop and on towards Hawthorns. Okay,
so at the moment Aidan Bro currently on 178 points from a virtual championship standing, plus an additional point for the fastest lap. That puts him on 179. Karolis Pavicius currently in 5th place. That is 32 points, which will put him on 196. So still Steve Haley just needs to stay behind Adam Izolovic.
I think it's going to change now. Sorry to interrupt. I think it's going to change because they're, no disrespect to Dave Hedges, but they've caught him up. They've been catching him reasonably quickly, and this is going to turn into a 3-car battle, and this is going to very much be an opportunistic pass, and I think Steve Haley might be able to make a move on Adam here once Adam's slowed up by Dave Hedges, depending how hard Dave defends against Adam. But Adam's going to have one eye forward and one eye backwards at the moment, because Steve's going to he's going to know that this is his opportunity. He's been stuck behind Adam for a good while now, and he needs to get another position up there just to make it safe for himself. And as I said earlier, I'm not quite sure he'll be fully aware of the mathematical situation at the moment, so he'll probably still be wanting to push ahead as much as he can.
Well, if he gets up into 6th position, that'll give him 30 points and puts him on 202, provisionally speaking, 6 points ahead of Carolus Sipovicius. But Aidan Bro, not done yet by a long stretch. And he is currently 14th at the moment. Well, make that 13th now, so that gives him another 2 points. So that puts him on 181, which will include, well, actually, no. Sorry, my maths is a little bit shocking there. I'm just writing this all down as I'm talking. So 164 plus 16 plus an additional point is 181. So he is 15 points behind Carolus Sipovicius. And at the way things are going, if he gets past the likes of if he gets himself into the top 10, you know, I think he knows that with that incident earlier on, that has really... Oh, that was Roddenberry. That was Roddenberry off the track there.
Yeah, Roddenberry and Fullbrook came together, but Roddenberry very much came off the worst. As we're just looking at, that's Gav Utley on passport. Oh, can't move right there. There's a car there, Gav. That was yeah, a little bit. I won't say aggressive, but maybe just wasn't aware that the Ginetta was still there.
Or that could have been a lot. That might have been a bit cheeky. Who knows? And I've just been having a look at the GT4 chat on our Discord server. If you want to get involved with us here at Simsport Racing, head to simsport-racing.com. That will provide you all the information for our relevant social media feeds. So our Facebook group, Twitter account, Instagram feed as well, and also our Discord server. We have, at the moment, 635 members of our community, including us two here in the virtual commentary box. But the community is growing as always. Feel free to get involved at simsport-racing.com. Look at this, Steve Haley again, as now the light starts to fade in the Garden of England here at Brands Hatch Grand Prix for the 6th and final round of Season 3 GT4 at Simsport Racing. Steve, I still cannot believe how close it has been all the way through this season. And Steve Haley, as you said, is completely concentrating on the back bumper at Adam Izolovic, and also looking to see when that gap is going to present itself, and hopefully that might do it in the next 12 minutes and 25 seconds, as Kieran Vidago has now caught up. He's within 4/10 of Yannick Muller, and there is the charging Team Fordzilla driver, started 35th, just over 30 plus minutes ago, and now he's in 4th, and this is going to be an epic 4-way scrap for the victory here at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be a 4-way battle, as now we can see Kieran Vidago already putting the pressure on Muller. Muller putting the pressure on Zentalis, and it's going to be almost 3 wide as Zentalis loses traction there. Crossland now joins in and contact, and that's Charlie's come off worse from that one. Stuck his nose up the inside of Vidago. A little bit of a late move, but I think the other guys ahead brakes maybe a bit harder than normal because they were going 3 wide, and that's Crossland just lost out big time there. Although you know, he's going to you know, resume and rejoin, but that has put, I believe, Sipovicius up a place.
Yeah, so 11 minutes and 25 seconds still to go. Still all to play for, not just in the championship, but for the overall victory. And Zentalis at the moment has been doing an epic job of keeping Yannick Muller at bay, despite Yannick Muller a few laps ago getting the lead. But Kieran Vidago has been flying, and right, okay, this is where I've just, obviously with Charlie Crossland coming off worse on that incident there, unfortunately for Charlie, because he'd been doing such a mega job up until that point. Sipovicius now is in 4th place. And this is where my calculations are going to go into overdrive at the moment, Steve, if I'm completely honest with you. 4th place gives him
While you do the calculations, mate, I'm just going to give a shout out to Mark Neutlins, who's retired the car. He's in chat and he just said it's an undrivable car with a lot of damage, so he's here to cheer for the cheese wagon. So Adam Azalovic, come on, you've got. I was just watching a replay and just saw Charlie there, stuck his nose up the inside, was carrying a bit more speed because the other guys had to lift off a little bit as they were going in there 3 wide. Nothing Kieran Vidago could have done about that. Really, I think that was sort of Charlie's own undoing, as it were, there, and really unlucky because Charlie had a great race and made great progress. But we are now looking at Muller through Pilgrim's Drop, trying to put it alongside Zentalis, but that's not going to work. But he's so close, and this has been a battle raging on for a big part of this race, for the majority of this race. These two have been pretty much close together, locked together, and Vidago is there very much in a watching brief, just waiting to see if he can jump on any opportunity that's presented to him. Crossland is dropping a bit further back, so it looks like he may have picked up a bit of damage, or he's just regrouping, but he's only got 9 minutes left to regroup and charge. Hedges is still ahead of Azalovic ahead of Haley, who is still tantalisingly so close to gaining that 7th place, which at this moment in time, when I come back to Alex, he may tell us he needs to do.
Yes, he does, because it's back level on points, 198 versus 198. Now, Steve, I do need to ask, would you take into consideration, based on the highest result? Now, look at it from this way, okay? The finishing orders of both Haley and Sipovicius through the first 5 rounds as thus: Haley P2 first round at Monza, Sipovicius P13, P8 for Suzuka.
Hold the line. Haley is making a move on Azalovic.
He's gone for it.
You don't need to ask that question, because you think he's gonna. Yes, he has.
He's got it. Well done, Steve Haley. That puts him on 200 points. But there is always that what if. Knock on wood. But look, Yannick Miller up the inside of Zentalis. Oh, they clash. Oh, that's going to allow Kieran Vidago to thread the eye of the needle. And Zipovicius, he's now up into 2nd. He's up into 2nd place. That has changed it once again. Oh my God.
Let's just work it out after the checkered flag, mate.
Oh, mate, I will be doing that. I'm now... Right, you're gonna hear this now. This is the bit of me ripping this piece of paper up.
Absolutely.
There we go, job done. Throw it out the window, throw out the rule book, and throw it and see if I can hit the bin from here. Yes, definitely. 2 points for Alex. But 8 minutes still to go. And now it's all changed. Kieran Vidago has Zipovicius closing him down. And look at that gap. That is absolutely being truncated by the 101. So Steve Haley is less than half a second behind Dave Hedges as Yannick Miller trying to get past Zentalis as Vidago goes defensive going through into Druids on Zipovicius. Zentalis goes defensive on Miller, and also in terms of from a not an assumptive but a predictive sort of side of things, reference to the team's championship, Zipovicius and Zentalis are in the perfect position to wrap up the team's title.
Absolutely, there's not much more they could have done really, other than one of them winning the race. But yeah, fantastic performance from these two guys tonight. And Sipovicius, it has to be said, he's just basically put himself in the right place at the right time. He's gained 3 positions there from other drivers' mistakes. He hasn't really technically made an overtake. They've just they've given him an opportunity where they've run off track and handed him the positions. And that's what you need to do. You need to be able to take advantage of those situations to win championships. It's not just about being the fastest man on the track. It's not just about being able to pull off amazing overtakes. It's about playing the long game and just being there where you need to be when the opportunities arise, and that's exactly what he's done. He's not doing anything silly. He's putting the pressure on Vidago. He knows that a win is on the cards if Vidago makes a mistake, but he also probably knows that at this moment in time he's leading the championship. Yeah.
Very, very true there. 6 minutes and 15 seconds to go. On to lap number 26. And Kieran Vidago in the number 4 Porsche leads the way ahead of Karolis Sipovicius with just 6 minutes on the clock.
Oh, gutted for Michael Haffenden as well. He's just come on to chat saying a right rear puncher. He's never had that before. Unlucky, Michael. You were going reasonably strong, having a good race, and that's always unlucky to get a puncher. And Mark Neutlins also says that he promises that this is the last time we're going to see his cheese.
Oh, that's That really, well, I don't know how to take that comment. I'm going to plead the fifth on that one, Steve.
It's the car livery, obviously.
Yeah. Exactly. That's why I'm not commenting on that. I think it's best to leave that stone definitely not. We don't want to leave that stone unturned, not turn it over.
Yeah,
because that could really be a fright for anybody.
Absolutely, and I'm just going to put us back on track now, quite literally. Cameron Fife, he's up into that 20th place point scoring position, so great drive from Cameron. Just while we're watching Muller and Zentalis at the moment going hammer and song for what is third position, and looks like Muller's got that move done very, very clean, very, very tidy, and very, very precise. That was a great move. But yeah, good to see Cameron Fife is in a point scoring position, albeit he's under very close scrutiny from Angus Martin, who's looking to take that point scoring position away, and he does indeed, but Cameron might get the cutback, and that BM certainly got some straight line speed. Great driving from Cameron there, just to keep a tighter line, get the switch back, and he's got that speed. I knew that BMW had the legs, and he's got back on Angus Martin, so great driving from both drivers there.
Yep, so it is all coming down to the wire. 4.5 minutes still to go. Carola Supervicious closing on Kieran Vidago. That looks to be one of the Porsches. It's either Colin Dunn or Mark Raddenbury. There's just up ahead. I think that could be Mr. Dunn as they're going down the Cooper Straight. Good, and that was Dunn, wasn't it? I think that was just going.
Yes, I believe
just
it was.
getting past.
Yeah.
So yeah, down towards Pilgrim's Drop as this battle between Muller and Zentalis still waging like nobody's business, and I don't think anyone's going to stop them in that sort of matter of fact. But Steve Haley at the moment now is up into 6th position, so it is still getting rather close, rather tantalising, as we will not, as Steve said, count the scores until we get to the checkered flag. But Vidago pulling away from Supervicious to the tune of now just over a second as we go on board with Zentalis, as they're now going through, I think, through Hawthorne's. No, that's not Hawthorne's, that's Sheen Curve. They've just negotiated into the left at Sterling's. And if anyone might remember, a couple of years ago when Danny Hungadeo was running in Blancpain GT Sprints, he had a bit of a tank slapper coming out of Sterling's and heading towards Clearways, and he managed to save that one. But now Zentalis trying to close up on Muller.
Yeah, Muller's making a couple of mistakes there. I just saw he's run wide in a couple of corners. I'm just wondering how hard he's been pushing that Merc, whether his tyres are starting to just give a little bit. And again, he's just drifting off the curbs there, running wide, but nothing Zentalis can do about that. But just showing his nose. Muller's missed the apex again, run really wide. Zentalis closing right up under the brakes, but no room for a pass there. But yeah, Muller's he's just not as clean and tidy as he is. Again, he could have taken a bit more of the inside line there and carried a bit more speed through there. And I think he's just maybe looking a little bit too much in his rearview mirror at the moment. Either that or the tyres are starting to go off, and he's struggling to drive those tidy lines that he normally does.
Yeah, because I mean the thing is now you look at it, Steve Haley now is ahead of Charlie Crossland for what is 5th position, and he's 9.1 seconds behind this battle. We've got 2 minutes and a quarter still to go. Vidago looking to make it the only driver to win 2 races this season in GT4 Season 3 here on Simsport Racing. It's been an absolute cracker, with the top 23 rounded out by Richard Emery down in the 115 BMW. Aidan Bro now up into 11th position, giving him 20 points. So it is really coming all the way down to the wire. And with regards to Vidago and Supervicious, they'll probably be more than likely on the penultimate lap of the race, as 3rd and 4th now come through Clark Curve and onto the Bradman straightaway to come across the line. They'll then start their 30th lap. And Isalovic, and that's Aaron Walker now closing up, so he's trying to do what he can to help out his teammate Steve Haley, because obviously now Haley is down to 8.8 seconds behind Zentalis, as Walker's trying to do his best to get past Adam Isalovic from Marcada Racing and the investigation team Maserati of Dave Hedges, as Walker looks towards the outside, darts to the inside, up he goes through past, but he literally runs wide coming through Druids. Oh, they nearly banged door panels, and there is Miles Dixon just behind, but Walker gets the move done through Graham Hill. Great job there.
what, he managed to pull that back from way out wide. Whether he planned that, I'm not quite sure, but he ran way deep into Druids and managed to pull it really tightly back and get the inside. And yeah, great move, fantastic drive. And he's now on the back of Hedges. And I think, we've literally, we're going to have, one more lap to go. So he's got one more lap to get past Hedges, which could be all important for the team championships. Not quite sure, again, on the points how that one's working out, but they did have quite an advantage going into this race. But Vicious and Zentalis are doing as much as they can for Team 1001 to win the team championship.
Right, we are now about to head on to the 30th and final lap of the final race this season into Paddock Hill Bend for one more time. Karolis Sipavicius trying to close on Kieran Vidago. The timer has struck 0. Up to Druids. Sipavicius is he's close to the back bumper of Vidago going through the apex. And could he get a good run coming down the hill, down towards Graham Hill Bend and then into Cooper Straight? He's got an opportunity to really put the final nail in the coffin in the title, because according to my estimation, he could win this title by just 4 points at the checkered flag as Walker up the inside on Hedges through Druids. Up into 7th. That's a great move from him, from Aaron Walker, and that could really help to secure Simply Race possibly 2nd in the title standings. Might not be enough for 1st, but they are now going through into Hawthorns, down them into straights, into the right at Westfields. Oh, it's getting very, very close indeed. Steve Haley is only 8.3 seconds behind Lucas Zentalis, but it is simply not going to be enough. Kieran Vidago, who won one of our earlier races in this GT4 season, he won a couple of races ago. Well, he actually won at Silverstone, the 4th out of 6 rounds, under clearways for the final time. Through the final corner, Kieran Vidago will power out of Clark Curve to take the checkered flag, but provisionally speaking, taking the title by just 4 points. The 101 of Karolis Sipavicius taking the it went down to the wire. Yannick Müller just ahead of Lucas Zentalis, and by our estimations, that could mean that 1001 Racing take the team's title on the final lap of the race. Steve Haley takes 5th and will finish approximately 4 points behind. This is obviously all provisional, but Stephen Haley gallantly defiant until the final checkered flag. But Steve Proudley, Karolis Sipavicius becomes our 3rd different champion in 3 different seasons. And commiserations to Aidan Bro right into the title fight up until the final race, until his turnaround. But still, he finishes predictively 3rd in the championship standings. What a barnstormer of a finale we've had here on Simsport Racing.
Yeah, absolutely great racing. Fantastic driving from everyone involved. Just unfortunate for Edinburgh. It's never nice to see a title contender get taken out. I mean, I'm not sure, obviously the incident needs reviewing, not quite sure exactly what happened, but it was great racing. Good comeback drive from him from 27th to 11th. But how many times did the championship change hands in that last 30 minutes between Sipavicius and Haley? Both drivers, I think Sipavicius he knew he had to push, he knew he had to get the cars between him and Haley, and he did what he needed to do. As I said earlier, he put himself in the positions where he could take advantage of situations that arose, and if that's the result, if he's won the championship, which I'm not doubting your maths, Alex, but yeah, he's a great drive, and he well-deserved champion from that drive and all the other drives all season long. None of these drivers deserve to be runners-up. They all deserve to be champions, but some fantastic driving this season.
Yes, and congratulations. I was hoping it was going to be 6 different winners from 6 different races, but Kieran Vidago, you cheeky little scamp, you managed to break the streak, so to speak. But congratulations to him. He takes the 2nd victory this season, and hopefully we'll be speaking to some drivers very, very shortly. But it looks like 1001 Racing, by our estimation, Steve, have taken away the title of teams champions from Simply Race this season as well. And our podcast director's not happy about that. Sorry, Mike.
It's looking very much like it, but it'd be interesting just to tally those points up for the teams, because I'm not quite sure myself on that one. So we'll have to potentially wait till after the race, and obviously there'll be the stewards' inquiries just to take into account for any incidents that have happened along the way. But obviously, if anyone in chat wants to really keep up with the final results, you need to jump on that Discord link, get into our Discord, because all the results are posted in there. You need to follow us on Twitter, you need to jump on our Facebook page, and the results will be posted here, there and everywhere after the stewards' inquiry, so full confirmation will be posted for everyone to see.
Yeah. Oh, before we forget, obviously this is not our last rodeo this year before Christmas, because, well, firstly, we'll get to some drivers in just a minute, but we have our last race of the season for the ACC GT3 driver swap. Obviously, due to unforeseen circumstances, the third round of the season at Mount Panorama was not broadcasted, but congratulations to the Griphax Engineering pairing of Ivan Shermatinsky and William Hendrickson. Second was Team Fordzilla & Co.'s Harry Spears and Jordan Burrows, with Simply Race Sancho Simsports, Ross McGregor and John Monroe not having brake problems this time, I understand, managing to put it third on the podium. The final round of that will be on Sunday. It's next Sunday, the 20th of December, at Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. It is a 2.5-hour race, mandatory driver changes, but also a 70-minute maximum stint time as well. So don't forget, we will be back for that as well. But I think, Steve, let's go down to the interview booth for one final time for Season 3 GT4 here on Simsport Racing to speak to some of our drivers from this evening.
I will follow you down.
Okay, right. Firstly, let's see if we can bring in a few of our drivers. Okay, seems like they're all coming in. But first up, we're going to speak to a driver that has broken a streak that has lasted all the way through until the final race. Two-time GT4 Season 3 race winner, Kieran Vidago. Congratulations, Kieran. Well done. Great job. You were up against it. I mean, obviously, we had the incident between Yannick and Lucas a bit earlier on, but you managed to sort of thread the eye of the needle where you had literally a huge barn door style space to get through.
Yeah, exactly.
But then obviously Carolus started pressurizing you in the latter stages, but you still held on defiant until the last of those 30 laps. I mean, how are you feeling at this moment, mate? Well done.
Extremely sweaty.
Apart from that, of course.
Coated in it. That was a really good race. I knew overtaking was really hard. So, and I saw the battle between Yannick and Zentalis. I can't remember his first name. I'm very sorry.
Lucas, yeah, Lucas.
Lucas, yes. Yeah, we were having such a good battle, and I just thought, you know what? I'm hoping they trip over each other, because that's my only opportunity.
Well, at least you go into. Well, obviously, you know, you go after Season 3, you know, you'll probably be in the top 5 in the standings, I think, possibly after that epic effort, mate. I mean, well done. I mean, now you can have a little bit of a relax, but obviously the work behind the scenes never stops, does it?
Oh, exactly. Got to think about a new car for next season.
Okay. Well done, Kieran. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, guys.
On British circuits, so Silverstone and now Brands Hatch, you've done the double, mate. Well done. Congratulations for tonight.
Thank you. I always say I hate British circuits.
I was just
the irony.
I was just going to say there was some irony there, isn't there, Kieran? But maybe the stream wouldn't understand the behind-the-scenes chats we have. But yeah, well done, Kieran. Great drive, solid drive tonight, and you really it was a mature drive because you didn't push too hard where there was no opportunity. You just sat back and waited, and fantastic. And you even weathered the storm when Mr. Crossland tried to stuff it up the inside and made a bit of contact with you, but Charlie came off worse for that. But yeah, great drive, buddy. Well done.
Yeah, I'm sorry to Charlie for that, because he would have had a good battle with me.
Definitely, yeah, he made good headway, but unfortunately that move was just maybe a move too far. But yeah, well done to you, Kieran.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let's have a chat with our runner-up in the race, but becoming our third respective GT4 champion in as many seasons. Well done to Karolis Sipavicius by just 4 points provisionally. Karolis, you hustled your way up to second position by the end of the 30 laps, and to provisionally win the title at this stage, fantastic job all season. You kept Steve Haley on his toes, and you managed to do the business where it counts. How are you feeling right now?
Oh, I'm super excited about this. It was a tricky race from the beginning. Lots of rubbing this time. And so excited, so sweaty.
That's the second time we've had sweaty being mentioned by two successive interviews. Thank you. Obviously, we're going to wait for official ratification, but Steve and I have... I think, Steve, if I'm right in saying that, I think that provisionally that 1001 Racing have provisionally secured the team's title for Season 3 as well.
I'm not sure about that. No, I didn't work those points out, to be fair, Alex, because I think that's a little bit bigger calculation required. So it's going to be very, very tight, but I'm not sure that they have done enough for the team as well.
Yeah, so we'll keep our fingers crossed for whoever wins the team title. Well done for tonight. Great drive way up to and provisionally winning the title for the Drivers' Championship in Season 3 for GT4. Well done this evening. Great drive.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, I think we're going to speak to now Yannick Müller. Yannick, it's been an up and down season. You were in the title coming into this as the bottom of the top 5, but still we saw that you were struggling with the Mercedes, but you were still managing to rotate the car. It was a very, very tough race for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Tires were going off, had a flat spot, flat tire right rear, and just didn't work out as planned, but still a fun race. Very sweaty, to mention it the third time now.
Yeah, danke sehr, as they say. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, you had your win at the Nurburgring, which is a great performance. Obviously, I think out of the top 5 drivers coming into this final round, you were the only one. I think it was round 4 where you had it was round 4 at Silverstone where you had a 16th place finish. But to still come back fighting and still having the opportunity to go for a race victory when you were battling with Lucas Entalis quite significantly before Kieran sort of took advantage of the slight clash between you guys. It must have been a pretty fulfilling season now, having done a full season campaign after jumping in the Audi for Season 2. Will we see you back next time, my friend?
For sure. Great season. I mean, not from my results, but just how it was organized from all the guys from Simsport. Really well done. We'll be back next time.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Yannick, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Cheers.
Okay, we have to speak to our outgoing champion from Season 2, Stephen Haley. It was so close, buddy. So close. The pendulum was swinging left to right. It felt like a British touring car race, not a GT4 race here at Brands Hatch, didn't it?
That was a tough race. That was a very, very tough race. Congratulations, Karolis. Very deserving. The race itself was okay. It was hard because I got stuck behind some cars which were faster than me down a straight. But every time I saw Karolis pass somebody, I was like, "Come on, I've got to get past the next person. Got to try and keep up with him." As soon as I saw that got into third place, I thought that's going to be. I think the points gap is much bigger, third, second, and first. So I knew I was up against it quite a lot. But as soon as he got second, I thought, well, all I can pray for is that somebody has an accident in front of me. But yeah, it weren't to be this time. But we'll try again next season.
Mr. Proudley, have you got anything to ask Mr. Haley?
I just, same to everybody and say, everyone's driven really well in this championship, and it's not been an easy championship for anyone to win. But Steve, credit to Steve, it has to be said, and we did highlight this at the beginning of the stream. Steve probably picked, along with his teammate Aaron Walker, they probably picked the most difficult car to to win the championship with. I won't say to drive, but to win the championship with. It's not the fastest at most of the tracks that we've had. It's certainly on the back foot, and there was a BOP update right more or less at the beginning of the season. I think I'm right in saying, Steve, was it?
Possibly.
Yeah, where it affected the car. So Steve, credit to him, he's battled hard and raced really hard, and it's he drove a very sensible race tonight, didn't you, Steve? You obviously are aware you couldn't get involved in any incidents, but you were really, you were still pushing, and we saw very much on the stream that you were struggling against the likes of the Mercedes and things on the straights. When you were quite quick through the corners, you were gaining speed, you were pulling alongside them, but then on the straights, they were just leaving you behind.
Yeah, quite frustrating. Quite frustrating.
But
I
yeah,
mean, it was a challenge. Aaron and I, we did speak about choosing a car that we've both not driven before, and maybe going for something that might be a bit of a challenge. It was a challenge. If you look at the tracks that we raced on this season, none of them really favoured the KTM. So to come, I think if I secured second in the championship, then I'm quite pleased with that.
I'm just going to bring Aaron in on this, because obviously the team's championship. I said I wouldn't bring Aaron down into the interview room unless he'd won the teams. Now I'll be honest, we're not quite sure at this moment, because there's obviously stewards' inquiries, whatever to do before the results can be confirmed, and I think it is going to be very close anyway. But I just thought I'd bring Aaron in because Aaron, that was a fantastic drive this evening to come from, was it round about 27th? Were you on the grid at the start to put it where you did in the finish?
Yes, Steve. Yeah, I think I started 27th. It was a good race, a fantastic race. I was able to push pretty much for the whole of it. I mean, first of all, I suppose congratulations to the guys on the podium. Kieran for the win, Carolis for the championship. That's amazing. To have 3 different winners over 3 championships is incredible. And I'm gutted for Steve, obviously, as you've already said, that we took a difficult car. There's no way a KTM should be this high up the championship, and it says a lot to Steve, really. He's done a great job. He just couldn't quite get it over the line. But I'd sort of been doing the sums in my head. I thought we'd done enough of the team championship, but we'll see. Unless you know something I don't on the protests.
No, I'm thinking you have, mate, but I don't want to say for definite, and commentators curse and all that and get it wrong and be ridiculed for the rest of my life for getting it wrong. But no, I do think you do, and the reason I brought you down here is because obviously that's what you were driving for this evening, and that's an outstanding drive from you tonight against some difficult opposition. It has to be said, keeping it clean and taking your opportunities. And we're just watching the replay now where you had to literally go around about 4, 5, 6 cars, and you managed that, and you kept out of trouble pretty much from what we saw. Again, unless you're going to tell us something different.
I'm not gonna incriminate myself, Steve. I'm joking. I mean, there was a bit of door banging throughout. It was a very close race. I think it was all fair though. Very good racing. I enjoyed it.
No, it was a fantastic drive from you guys for the team championship, and especially you, Aaron, to bring it back through the field there. Great drive from Steve, and well done on taking what looks to be the second place in the championship in what was a difficult car. But I think, unless you've got any more questions, Alex, I think we know who we need to interview next.
Yeah, I'm going to leave this one to you, my friend. Speak with from Butler Palm Motorsport. I'll leave Aidan Brow in your capable hands, Steve.
Aidan, mate, commiserations. Looked like you were sort of trying to do what you needed to do, stay out of trouble, move forward, but then trouble seemed to find you.
Yeah, I can't say I aren't angry with that one, because I just feel the rejoin was a bit similar to what happened to me, and I got a 3-place penalty for it, so I can't say as the championship's done and dusted, like people might think it is, because there was no need to do what happened, and that put me way down and out, and that was it. I was driving angry for the rest of the race because there was no point in. I was ready to pull it over, put it that way.
Yeah, I can imagine, but we did say again on the commentary throughout the stream, we were, commending you really for keeping going, and what has to be said, a good drive to come back through from you dropped down to, I believe, 27th, and you kept your head down. You've made the positions back, and you turned what was a bad incident into a reasonable result. Although because it's the last round and you were battling for the championship, it just wasn't what you needed, mate. I mean, like I say, commiserations to you there, but well done for although you were driving angry, well done for keeping going. And as you say, there's the stewards' inquiries which will take place tomorrow evening on Simsport. So positions may change, things may alter, but for the moment, I mean, that it is what it is at this moment in time. So all we can say is well done. And will you be back next season with us, Ed?
Yeah, I think I probably will be. Maybe in a different car, just because the Audi felt good tonight. Like you said, with coming back through the field, I had 15 seconds of damage at that point as well. So, it wasn't handling exactly how I wanted. I could get into 31s in practice, no problem, but was really struggling to get anywhere near that with the damage. But on the whole, it handled really well. But throughout over a season, I think the Audi, just because it lacks so much on the brakes, and most tracks have at least one, maybe two big stopping zones. It just struggles a bit more than other cars like the Porsche and the Aston, for example, but maybe even the Mercedes as well, with it being so fast down the straight line. But yeah, we'll have a bit of a review of what cars are sort of available and what BOP is like applied at the time. But yeah, should see me back on the grid.
Well, I hope so, mate, because as a new addition to the grid, you've been a worthy addition, because you've had some fantastic drives throughout this season, and you've had some epic drives where you've made lots of positions up and some really good overtakes. And I know Alex has been very, very excited to see you making moves every single round.
Suzuka hairpin, Aiden, 3 moves. I mean, that for me is out of everything that I've seen this season for season 3, buddy. I was really, really pleased to see how you literally you just planted that Audi around the outside of the hairpin at Suzuka, like 3 successive laps. And for me, that was one of the standout moments. I thought, like, hang on, they do say that sometimes lightning strikes twice, but you made it strike 3 times at the same blooming point on the circuit at Suzuka, of all places. I mean, wow. Well done. I know, like Steve says, just the way that you came back just shows the quality of you as a driver. I know how capable you are. I know what your what championships you've raced in. You've qualified for the Le Mans Esports at Autosport International. You're a very, very great driver, mate, and it's so really, really nice to have you on the grid with us, mate. And you've provided some standout performances, and I can't wait to see you back with us, mate. Really, honestly, and that's from the heart, not from the head.
Well, I'll say thank you very much from both of you, because it does mean a lot, obviously, on a bit of a down day. But I mean, it's racing at the end of the day. Like, accidents happen, championships get won and lost. I mean, just look at Lewis Hamilton's early days, and he lost the championship by a point, then won it by a point. So it swings in roundabouts here and there throughout all the racing, I suppose. So yeah, one of them. But congrats to whoever does end up winning the championship, because it's all about being consistent in this one with the reverse grid and everything.
Absolutely, mate. So yeah, well done from us guys, like we say. The one other person I brought down, especially for you, Alex. Obviously, Dave Hedges is here to have a chat.
Yes, Drifter Dave. Good evening, buddy.
Hello, boys. What should I say, ladies?
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are
you, my lord? I'm sorry. Maserati, I gave you a different nickname altogether with the hashtag Drifter Dave, Mr. Hedges. I mean, it's not easy, considering the fact that Regan already had a season's worth of knowledge from season 1. But I mean, between the pair of you, you really you started to get some really good performances out of that car throughout the season. But I'm sure that with a car that doesn't have ABS or traction control, it's not the easiest wagon to steer, is it?
It's not, and Regan had a season in it, and he needs his head examining for actually wanting to do another season.
That's well put there.
But yeah, the car just has a tendency to lock up on the front, and then you're pretty much running around with flat spots for the rest of the race, which is really difficult. Paddock Hill Bend especially has got a really nasty bump on it, and you hit that bump, lock up, and probably saw me run wide a couple of times.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm going to interrupt and explain why I'm chuckling while you're talking, and that's because producer Mike has put a little picture of Mr. Angry on the stream while you're talking.
Isn't it Mr. Grumpy?
Maybe Mr. Grumpy is one of them, yeah. So, sorry for interrupting, but I thought I'd better just let you know why I'm giggling away.
Well, it is schoolyard pranks here on Simsport, Dave. And looking forward to seeing what you decide to pilot for the next time you're out in the GT4 here on Simsport. But great job all season, mate. Well done, honestly.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Thank you. I might end up having to wear the tutu again. That's the problem.
Oh well, we'll have to wait and see on that one, won't we, Dave?
Yeah. Just for you, Alex.
Just for me? Or do you mean actually for Mr. Proudley?
No, it's for you. I'll send you the photos. Don't worry.
Oh God, I will definitely be deleting them. Yes. Courtesy of us here on Simsport Racing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, gents. Thanks all of you for a fantastic championship, and thanks for coming down and having a chat with us, and sharing your thoughts and your feelings. It's been absolutely fantastic. But that wraps up the season. So myself and Alex will head back to the commentary box and just tidy things up for the stream. So thank you, guys.
Thank you,
guys.
Thank you. Can I just say one thing and thank every single one of the participants who have raced this season and made it the championship it is. It's been fantastic. Cheers, guys.
Yeah, let's second those. Steve, thank you very much. Cheers.
Wow, that's it for season 3, Steve. GT4. Well, not quite, because obviously there are now, I can see protest responses coming in. This is where we really sort of have to say it is not down to what has just happened on the track. There are going to be stewards' inquiries, Steve. This could be the moment where we have to look forward to seeing whether there are any championship ramifications for what has happened tonight. And so effectively, that's why I said provisional, because obviously it's not set in stone, is it?
Absolutely not. We do at Simsport Racing, we like clean, fair racing, and if there are incidents, drivers are held accountable for their actions and will receive penalties or warnings, dependent upon what the incident was and what impact it had on others. So, we do very much promote clean, fair racing, but I just want to second what Steve said there. Simsport is a mega community. It's over 2,000 members on Facebook. It's over 600 on Discord, and Discord is very much the active community. So please, in the chat, there's a couple of links in there to our Discord community. You can also go to www.simsport-racing.com and find all the links for all of our social media on there and join us. Because these races aren't possible without the community. The community are the drivers, and the drivers put on the entertainment for us. I want to say thank you to Mike Yao for providing the pictures and broadcasting such high quality images. As always, the streams look fantastic. A massive thank you to Alex for lead commentating on this. I just come along just to fill in the very rare silences that he leaves me. But absolutely fantastic job by everybody involved, and I can't wait for the new year, because I guarantee to you we will have season 4 GT4 probably starting in January. We're just going to do we're just arranging a few final things, and we will have a championship in place for next year.
Well, there you go. Breaking news from one of the founders of Simsport Racing, Steve Proudley. What a season it's been in 2020. Despite COVID-19, despite lockdowns, we at Simsport Racing really would like to say a big thank you to all of you at home for watching, whether it's been on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook Live. A big thank you to everyone that is a part of the community, everyone that really makes this community the place to race. On behalf of myself, Alex Goldschmidt, the voice of Simsport, and also my partner in crime, Steve Proudley, that is it from us. As you can see on your screens, the official website for simsport-racing.com. Get involved, be a part of the community, and let's help you make your way through the ranks of Assetto Corsa Competizione. So don't forget to join myself and Steve on Sunday, the 20th of December. Our final race before we have a little bit of a break over Christmas and New Year and eat and drink our fill, depending on how exorbitant we want to be, of course. Join us on the 20th of December, 7 p.m. GMT, for our final race of the season, as we have the Assetto Corsa Competizione GT3 driver swap taking place at Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. 2.5 hours, that title yet to be decided. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe wherever you are, and good night for now. Thank you for watching.